Hello everybody and welcome once again to another episode of Roshamjoe Paints. As always, my name is Joe and today I'm going to be doing another unboxing and preparation for this time the Death Guard MBH. It's an easy to build model and the reason I call it the MBH because while it might be an easy to build, push to fit, all that fun stuff, it is not easy to say Myphitic Blight-Hauler? Myphitic. So we're going to be putting together, taking a look at the Death Guard MBH. All right, so here we go. We have the Myphitic Blight-Hauler. That is how I'm going to attempt to pronounce it from now on. You know, it's pretty good looking model. Now, something I want to point out is this box here. When you turn it around, you actually get the normal box art. But I don't know, it just struck me as odd that they actually have a good amount of box art on this one. They've got, you know, a 3/4 from the front angle, some close-up on the weapons, close-up on the mouth, which actually I didn't even see based on most of the pictures I had already seen. And then you got, again, you got straight on, straight from the back, a side view, and a top view. It's a good amount of box art to go off of. Now, this looks like the Tainted Sons chapter, or you know, scheme, which is what I'm going for. So that's very helpful to me to be able to reference the box art there. So you know, overall, pretty happy with the outside of the box. Now, let's pop it open and check out what is on the inside. We have a gigantic base here. It is quite the base. It looks like it's going to have a few points of contact already predetermined for you. The sprue, and then, yeah, of course, some instructions. Now, I will move the box out of the way. Instructions, pretty standard. Here's where to put the stuff. I can tell you right now, just looking at this, that's not going on until I'm doing the final assembly. And I don't know, it really just depends on how much stuff gets hidden underneath. Like, you could tell this track is going to be covered up by just about, oh, no, you couldn't tell because I was pointing at it off screen. This track here, that's going to be covered up by most of the parts. It's surprising that they actually put a bunch of detail on it if it gets completely covered. As you can see in the picture down here, you can't even see it. You can see the underneath parts, and where is that piece instead of just pointing at a picture. Basically, it looks like it's going to be one of these treads that gets kind of like covered by about half, something like that. But I will be able to show you what I decide to do with my sub-assemblies later. Let's look at the sprue itself. So, actually pretty, there we go, make it focus. Pretty simple. Two large side pieces, half and half. Then you got, this is kind of like this is almost, is it the back half of the weapons probably? Yeah, because then you got the fronts are going to be here, and then those look like they are, you got one gun that gets assembled there, and then the front of like the missile launcher guy there. Then you have your 3 treads. I believe these are going to be the sides, and that's probably going to be the back. And then, of course, you have the front. And I believe this is part of the mouth here. I don't know. That's probably, oh, you know what? That's underneath. That's going to be, like, that'll be resting on the bottom. I can't quite show you the angle. I'll show you later. Overall, pretty straightforward, actually. I don't see, there's a little bit of mold lines. Let's see if I can get them in here. You can see right here. There we go, underneath there. Like, you got a little bit of a mold line right there, but that may actually get covered up. Not a lot stands out to me. And the beautiful part about this is there's already like so much battle damage that goes onto these pieces anyway. Like, you got a bunch of dings and dents of just Nurgle's rot in general, I imagine, but then also you could call it battle damage. So if you do end up doing some damage when you're cutting this off, well, then it's not going to matter. Just call it battle damage and move on. So let me now cut all these pieces apart and glue some together, and we will figure out what we want to do as far as sub-assemblies, and that'll be it. And we'll just have to figure out a time when I can actually get painting on this guy. So after all that, here is what we are left with. Now, you'll notice it is not in sub-assemblies, unless you aren't looking at the screen, in which case, hey, look over here, check it out, it's not in sub-assemblies. It is technically, but so this piece, it's complicated. Let me show you. So I've got it on the base, and it's not glued down or anything like that. So this front piece has multiple, so it's got 4 total contact points, 1, 2, 3, 4, and those go into, you see these front of the treads here, and then underneath there and here. Getting them on just these two, pretty simple. Getting them to line up with these, even when it's pegged into the base, is kind of annoying, actually. So I'm torn, because I want to paint this separately so I can get to it all, and that way I can get to more of the details in the little mouthpiece here. Obviously, I'm not going to paint the treads. I'll just leave them whatever, because when you cover it up, you don't see much of it. But painting it assembled would also be kind of worthwhile in my mind. Now, this piece is also still loose, and painting this separately would be fine. And actually, I don't even care if I paint these two separately. Like, you know, if they were glued together somehow, maybe something like wherever they sit, roughly there. Oop, roughly there. That would be fine too. But the reason I don't want to have all these things on there is just mainly because I want to be able to get into some of the details that are up in here. And once you start putting these guys, you know, once you start putting these on, it just starts blocking it, making it more difficult. But I don't know. It's going to be a game time decision, I think, simply because, like, is the little bit of detail that I'll be able to get to if I don't have it assembled, like the little pieces underneath, you know, the guns, is that going to be worth having to try to have it fully painted? And then, like I said, you know, you got to line these two guys up. Whoop, you got to drop it first. You got to line these up a little bit so that it'll push in. And then you can tell there's a little gap there under the wheel. That's not normal, or the tread. That's not normally there. So I'm not actually lined up with the tread. So you kind of have to look and mess around with it. And there, now that side might be on. And then yeah, basically it's a struggle. And I'm not a fan of it. Oh, did I actually get it on there? Okay, actually it's not as hard as it looks. No, it is. It's probably because I spent like a half hour practicing putting that on. But, you know, overall, back to, you know, and more important things. Like I said, there was a little bit of a mold line here, but it just barely any scraped it right off. I think that's actually damage from when it was clipped off. But again, there's a hole there too, so who cares? Overall, I mean, I like how this model looks. I had been eyeing this one for a while. I wasn't as much of a fan of like the faux-tide blow drones or whatever they're called. And, you know, my goal here is, so I painted a bunch of Death Guard, and maybe I'll put a picture of all of those guys up. I painted them, even though I really didn't want to. I was not a fan of them. But then I painted the Lord of Contagion, and I was happy with how this came out. So I'm hoping to have similar luck with kind of like the flesh that I had done, and the metals, and his arm falling off, you know, things like that. I can't believe that just happened. It's not magnetized. That's literally just... Well, that'll get super glued back on. Let's just go ahead and pretend that never happened. So yeah, I'm looking to take some of what I learned with the Lord of Contagion over there and apply it to this. So we'll see how it comes out, whether it's in sub-assemblies or not. Who knows? And with that, we come to the part of the episode where I get to say, hey, thanks for sticking around and joining me during my process of figuring out what I was even doing with that guy. And don't worry, Lord of Contagion is glued back together and feeling about like he normally would have, I guess. I don't know. He doesn't talk much. Anyways, fun model to put together. I'm looking forward to painting it. If I have painted it at this point, look down there in the descriptions. There will be links for the short and longer versions for whenever that is done. For now, though, thanks for joining. If you've made it this far to the episode, thank you for watching. And subscribe, ring the bell, share it with people,
have a comment, do all the things that we do on YouTube. And yeah, I guess I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one.